been here before, then welcome back to the show. If you're new to the channel, then welcome to Scamp Build UK. As you can probably guess by the title, I'm building a scamp, which is a 12-foot sailing dinghy. I've been building it since October and it's now September, so it's coming up to a whole year that I've been building this boat, and I have absolutely no idea how much further I've got to go. I suspect it's probably going to be at least another year, but progress has been good so far. I've just dry fitted Bulkhead 3 and I've got some decisions to make now. So the question we have is about the hatch lockers. So in here there are going to be two doorways which will allow you access to the front section, which is a watertight storage area. We've got two options. I either buy plastic pre-made hatches, a bit like this one. These ones sadly won't fit, they're not quite big enough. I'm guessing they're probably about 40 quid each. I'll be able to tell in a little while. The other option is that I cut the holes and use the bits that I cut out as doors. Obviously a much cheaper option. There's another consideration here as well, and that is how watertight these are. So these things have a latch mechanism and there's a rubber seal on the inside there. Now, from experience, I know that these aren't necessarily that effective, and if you do happen to capsize the dinghy, then you really don't want water getting into that front compartment there. If I build them myself, I have the option of making the seals, or what we call the dogs, that hold the door onto the seal, and putting as many of those on as I want to make sure that I can get a really watertight fit. So I'm kind of leaning towards maybe making them, but I want to measure up how big the holes are first of all, so that I can sum up the cost analysis against the benefit of building them myself. The other side is as well that the whole thing is a DIY project, so why not do as much DIY as you can? And buying plastic things, yeah, it's easy, but maybe not quite so much fun. So let's draw out how big the doors can be. So I've got this bit here. That is the edge of where the mast step goes. I don't want to get too close to that, so I would suggest that maybe coming in good, what's that, 3 inches, probably even more. I'll maybe do 3.5 inches. So if I have a mark there, another mark there. So I like that. Now I can get in close and see. We could maybe make them a little bit, maybe another inch bigger. Certainly out that way. I wouldn't want to come much closer in this way because of parts that have with the mast step and stuff. But yeah, I can see how those would be a decent size, well, as big as you can get them really. And kind of edging towards, why don't I make the doors myself rather than spend 80 quid or more on some hatches that might not work. At least that way I'll have made some doors that don't work, but it'll be my fault. So I'm going to sleep on it. Some people have been asking me for a closer look at the plans for the lazarette locker, which didn't really show up very clearly on the last video, so that's what it's planning to look like. You can see a bit of a slope on it there so you can sit against the back of it. And I've put the door in the front because there's not enough room to lift the lid with the tiller in the way. So I thought putting it in the front would be a sensible solution. It might make it a little bit difficult to get right to the back, so maybe I'll put another door on the top as well. I don't know, I have to think about that. But, it does enclose the cockpit a little bit, but I don't think you're going to be losing much because you'd never sit at the back there anyway, because you can see the seat's too narrow to actually sit at the back there. Whereas with the lazarette there, you do have some option to sit on the stern. Yeah, I like it. I think it's going to happen. Obviously, it needs to be built better than that. That's just something I threw together from some scraps. So, but yeah, I kind of like the way that you've got the seat here and the seat here. And it kind of steps down right into the bottom of the boat. So gives it lots of levels to play around with. Yeah, I like it. I decided it's time to have a new blade on my oscillating multi-tool, and oh my word, what a difference that's made. I don't think I've ever replaced the blade on it before, so it's made a massive difference to actually have something sharp that you can cut with. So let's talk lamps. New part arrived for this one, which I've installed. Sadly, I put some oil in it and it leaked out of the base. So, you can see there's a dirty great hole in the bottom of it there. That's where it's coming out of. So Sabina had the idea of maybe patching it up with some epoxy and seeing if we can get it to be leak-free. I might do that, but I did actually come across something else, which I thought I'd treat myself to. Ta-da! Check that out, it's a proper scamp lamp. Let's see if it works, shall we? Right, well, I'm committed now. I've made holes in the bulkhead, so there's only one way forward. It was quite a good job actually. I did make a couple of little wobbly lines at one point, but nothing so serious it can't be fixed with a little bit of filler. What I've got to do now is put the, I guess you call them like the door jambs or something that go on here with a little bit of rubber that goes on it, so got a little bit of think about how I'm going to do that. But I'm rather pleased with them. I think these are decent sized doors and that will give you plenty of access to this little area up here. So we'll see you next time. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Scamp Build UK. The fact that you've got this far shows enormous fortitude and probably not a little of the same obsession that I have with everything Scamp related. So if you've enjoyed, please do consider giving me one of those coveted thumbs up. That really helps me to know that people are out there enjoying the efforts that I'm putting into doing these videos. And of course, you can always subscribe if you want to get an alert every time I post an episode. It's been lovely having you on the show. I'll see you next time.